Web 2.0 came into fruition in 1999, bringing with it a whole new world of possibilities. Through Web 2.0, social media was born. Social media has been the one constant in an ever-changing, evolving technological world. Starting off as a way for people to connect and feel connected, social media has now turned into a source for individuals who want to sway public opinion. In his book, Data versus Democracy, author Chris Schaefer, PhD, speaks on how big data algorithms used by social media applications shape opinions and not only alter the course of history, but continue to do so, creating a great divide. What was once a platform used to connect us is now being used to separate the masses. Dr. Schaefer is a data scientist and senior computational disinformation analyst for New Knowledge, who co-authored a sanctioned report for the United States Senate on Russia's interference in the 2016 US presidential election. Data versus Democracy opens up with an explanation of the propaganda problem we face daily as a society and how the information abundance affects the way we consume media. According to Dr. Schaefer, through cognitive hacking, a hacker can manipulate a large portion of the media we consume around particular issues. This was evident through the 2016 presidential election. Through empirical and theoretical research conducted by Hunt Alcott and Matthew Gentzowit for the Journal of Economic Perspectives, Dr. Schaefer's sentiments on the propaganda problem we face through social media and fake news was unknowingly tested. Alcott and Gentzowit found that social media and fake news could have played a pivotal role in the 2016 US presidential election, depending on the amount of overall exposure. Through their research, they concluded that the average US adult read and remembered at least one fake news story shared through social media, which favored none other than Donald Trump over Hillary Clinton. It is my personal opinion that their findings cement Dr. Schaefer's reasonings on the effects of media. Within Data versus Democracy, Dr. Schaefer further explains how the limits of our brain leave us vulnerable to cognitive hacking. Through priming, working memory, and perceptual fluency, we are all susceptible to what Lieutenant Colonel Jared Peer calls information warfare. Jared Peer conducted research for the Strategic Studies Quarterly on how social media is being used as information warfare. His research titled, Commanding the Trend, Social Media as Information Warfare, is in tune with Dr. Schaefer's claims on how the limits of our brains leave us vulnerable to cognitive hacking. According to Colonel Jared Peer, 72% of Americans get their digital news primarily from a mobile device, and people now prefer online news sources rather than print 2-to-1. This leaves a lot of individuals vulnerable to cognitive hacking, as Dr. Schaefer mentions in his book, through the distribution of fake news and strategic information planting. Through Data versus Democracy, Dr. Schaefer highlights how these big data algorithms manipulate the information we view through these recommendation engines. Essentially, an unchecked content recommendation can be a bias amplifier. Bias amplification can be even stronger through social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Data versus Democracy closes with Dr. Schaefer speaking about real-life case studies which support his conclusions within the studies. One that really stood out to me was the one of how the Black Lives Matter movement was created and strengthened through Twitter and the hashtag Ferguson. Yaramir Bonilla, Jonathan Rose, wrote a piece for the American Ethnologist on the Ferguson hashtag titled Ferguson, Digital Protest, hashtag Ethnography, and Racial Political Social Media in the United States. Through their research, they concluded that hashtag activism has become salient to particular populations. Similarly, Dr. Schaefer talks about how the hashtag Ferguson propelled the Black Lives Matter movement into the activism stratosphere by being a hacked public space that functions as a digital community center. Data versus Democracy is one of those reads that really makes you question where we're going as society with the vast capability of manipulation, along with the information data we have at our disposal via the internet and social media. I, for one, agree with Dr. Schaefer when he states that in order for us to make a positive mark in the universe, we need mindfulness, deliberateness, and collaboration from allowing these big data algorithms to continue to separate us.